What would you do if the silence you kept to protect your family became the very thing that shattered it? Are you aware of the vulnerability many children face in certain family dynamics, particularly with stepfathers? Welcome to Folktales by IJ. In today's story, the sun was setting, casting long shadows over the bustling streets of Obiago, a small town known for its vibrant marketplaces and crowded roads. But this evening, the peaceful hum of the town was shattered by the loud screech of tires and the sickening thud of a body hitting the ground. A young girl lay on the road, her body twisted at the unnatural angles, blood staining the asphalt beneath her. A crowd quickly gathered, murmurs of shock and horror rippling through the people. But amidst the panic, one woman pushed her way to the front. Her name was Ife, a kind-hearted nurse known for her selfless nature. Without a second thought, Ife knelt beside the girl, checked for signs of life, and carried her. To her relief, the girl was still breathing, though weakly. Her face was bruised and her clothes were torn. But there was something in her expression, something that spoke of a deeper pain than just the accident. "We must take her to the hospital," Ife shouted, her voice firm and commanding. As the crowd looked on, frozen by shock, Ife carried the girl into the car. Her heart raced as she reached the hospital. Who was this girl? What had happened to her before the accident? At the hospital, the doctors and the other staff worked swiftly to stabilize the girl. She was unconscious, her injuries severe but not fatal. As the medical staff took over, Ife sat in the waiting room, her heart heavy with concern for the girl she didn't even know. Hours passed, and finally, a doctor emerged. "She's stable now," he said, "but she's been through a lot. We found signs of older injuries, older scars. This girl has been hurt many times before." Ife felt her heart sink. What kind of life had this girl lived to bear such pain at such a young age? The next morning, the girl woke up. She looked around the room, disoriented and afraid, her body aching from the accident. Ife sat beside her, offering a gentle smile. "You're safe now. What is your name?" "My name is Ife and I work in this hospital." The girl hesitated, tears welling up in her eyes. "My name is Amara," she whispered. "Amara," Ife repeated, her voice warm and comforting. "Can you tell me what happened? Why were you out there alone?" For a moment, Amara remained silent, but something about Ife's kindness, the way she held her hand and looked at her with genuine concern, made Amara feel safe enough to speak. And so the words that had been trapped in her heart for so long began to spill out. "I ran away," Amara confessed, her voice trembling. "I had no choice." Ife's brow furrowed in concern. "Why, my dear? What made you leave your home?" Amara's tears fell freely now, her chest heavy with sobs as she struggled to find the words. "My stepfather, he hurt me," she finally said. "He did things to me, things no one should ever have to endure." Ife's heart ached as she listened to the young girl's story. Amara was only 14, yet the weight of the world seemed to rest on her small shoulders. She spoke of nights spent in fear, of a mother who turned a blind eye to her suffering, and of the unbearable shame that had driven her to flee. "My mother knew," Amara continued, her voice barely a whisper. "My mother knew what he was doing to me, but she didn't stop him. She didn't say anything. She just pretended it wasn't happening." Ife's eyes filled with tears as she squeezed Amara's hand. "You didn't deserve any of that, Amara. You're so brave for telling your story." Amara shook her head. "I wasn't brave. I was scared. I didn't know where to go. I just ran, and that's when the car hit me. The room fell silent as Amara finished her story. Ife felt a fire ignite within her, a deep sense of anger and injustice for what this young girl had endured. But alongside the anger was a fierce determination to help Amara. "You're not alone anymore, Amara," Ife said, her voice strong. "I'm going to make sure that man and your mother face the consequences of what they've done to you." When Amara was discharged from the hospital a week later, she returned to Ife's home, where she was met with warmth and love, a stark contrast to the cold, uncaring household she had fled from. Ife was true to her words. She contacted the local authorities and told them everything Amara had shared. With Amara's permission, she took her to the police station where the girl bravely recounted her horrific ordeal to the officers. The officers listened carefully, their expressions darkening as the full extent of Amara's suffering became clear. They promised to take action, and within days, Amara's stepfather, Obi, was arrested. He had tried to deny the accusations at first, claiming that Amara was lying, that she was just a troubled girl seeking attention. But when the evidence of her injuries were presented, along with her mother's refusal to intervene, his lies quickly crumbled. Amara's mother, Ngozi, was also taken into custody, charged with complicity for her failure to protect her daughter. The town of Obiago was shocked. Many had known Ngozi and Obi, but none had suspected the darkness that lay behind their closed doors. The news spread like wildfire, and soon everyone was talking about the terrible truth of what had happened in their midst. But while justice was being served, Amara still struggled with the weight of her trauma. Every night, she woke up from nightmares, her body drenched in sweat, her heart pounding with fear. She found it hard to trust anyone, even Ife, though the woman had done nothing but care for her. "I don't know how to live anymore," Amara confided one night as they sat together in the room. Ife placed a hand on Amara's shoulder. "Healing takes time, my dear, but you're not defined by what happened to you. You are strong. You will find peace again. I'll be with you every step of the way." 2 weeks later, Ife got a message from the hospital. She has just been informed that Amara was pregnant. She sat with Amara and held her as she broke the news to her. She assured Amara that she would take care of her and the baby. "What will happen to my dreams of becoming a medical doctor?" Ife promised to take care of her and the baby and send her to school. Amara nodded, though doubt still clouded her heart. How could she ever find peace when the scars of her past were so deep? Months passed, and though it wasn't easy, Amara slowly began to heal. The pregnancy scan showed that she was pregnant with twins. With the support of Ife and the help of a counselor and the medical team, she learned to cope with her trauma. She returned to school after the birth of her twins, where she excelled in her studies, and for the first time in her life, she began to dream of a future where she could be free from the pain of her past. One day, as she sat by the river that ran through Obiago, she looked out at the water, watching the way it flowed so easily, so peacefully. It reminded her that life, too, could move forward, that even if after the darkest storm, the river of life kept flowing. "I can move forward," she whispered to herself, the realization settling in her heart like a warm embrace. And she did. Amara went on to become a voice for other young girls who had been silenced, using her story to raise awareness about the horrors of abuse and the importance of speaking out. She knew that there were many others like her, girls whose voices had been stifled by fear and shame, but she also knew that she could be the light that guided them out of the darkness. As for Obi and Ngozi, they remained behind bars, paying the price for their cruelty and neglect. The town of Obiago never forgot their story, and it became a cautionary tale passed down from generation to generation, a reminder that silence in the face of injustice is just as harmful as the crime itself. My dear listeners, it's important for us to begin to raise awareness about abuse and encourage conversations around prevention and support for victims. I want you to know that no matter how dark the past may be, no matter what the situation is, healing and justice can be found when we refuse to remain silent in the face of wrongdoing. Courage comes from speaking the truth, and those who stand up for themselves can inspire others to do the same. Inspire someone today. Thank you for listening to our story. Did you enjoy it? Please leave us a comment in the comment section. Share and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.